Well,
We've just wrapped up our time in Vietnam.
3 weeks.
3 weeks of exploring, adventuring, and culturing.
Experiencing everything. Yeah.
Experiencing, for sure. So this episode is to give you some hints and tips that we figured out along the way, let you know how we planned it, how much it cost us, and just general advice, our favourites, and all of that of our time in Vietnam.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a westernized country, so it can be a bit more intimidating to travel. So we're just hoping that a video like this can help you sort of make that go over the edge to book it and
Take the jump.
And
also, like, travelling with kids, young kids, is a little different with travelling these countries with older children or no children at all. So hopefully we can give you that reassurance that travelling these sorts of countries with children is still a great adventure.
Here's a quick highlight reel from our favourite spots and times in Vietnam, and then we'll get straight into the valuable info afterwards.
Let's do it. Alrighty, how did we plan Vietnam? Well, it was a 3-week stopover on the way to Europe, because I didn't want to go all the way to Europe in one leg, and I said, let's do a stopover. And then Dan found really good flights price-wise that happened to be 3 weeks.
I found good flights, and then I thought it had like a 1-day stopover in Vietnam, and I was like, I wonder if I can figure out how to make that a longer stopover. So I did some finagling of the flight planners and stuff like that, and ended up booking a ticket that had the 3-week layover in the middle.
Yeah, so that's how we ended up there. And then from there, we were like, okay, where do we go? What do we do in Vietnam now that we've got 3 weeks in Vietnam? So what did we do? We kind of Googled like top 10 places in Vietnam, top
unforgettable experiences in Vietnam.
Top experiences, and we like sort of
read some videos from some travellers
like us, read some blogs, things like that. And from there, we also know that we don't like to stop in a place for less than sort of 3 nights.
2 to 3 nights.
2 to 3 nights. It's kind of like we don't do 1-night stopovers. And
unless we have to.
Yeah. So from there, we're like, okay, well, that leaves us with sort of 6 or 7 kind of locations to stop. And then we wrote down where those were, and then sort of looked at a map, and we're like, okay.
Started booking.
And we booked accommodation. So Dan does the bigger picture stuff. He does the flights. He does the accommodation, kind of
transport,
like the logistics side of things. And then from there, once I knew, okay, we're doing Ho Chi Minh City, we were doing Da Nang, we were doing Hue, I then do the smaller picture, what we call smaller picture, where it's like more the local area. So when we were in Hoi An,
I looked up things to do, like attractions for her, and so like the Lantern Festival, Coconut Forest, Barnai Hills, things like that in those areas when we were in Ho Chi Minh. I looked up like the apartment cafes and things like that for us to do. So once Dan had once we decided, yes, we want to go to these bigger picture.
We do like share as well. Like I'll shoot her a few articles or videos about the place we're going or something, and she might watch them. Just so like we had it both on the same page with the same location.
With things we both want to see.
We're going to Tamkok to do the Tragan.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, that's sort of how we planned it. We didn't sort of lock everything in advance, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But we kind of just had our major plan because we needed to arrive in Ho Chi Minh, explore for 3 weeks, and then depart again to Europe from Ho Chi Minh. So that was kind of how we were filling in those 3 weeks. Okay, that's pretty much it. That's kind of how we did it. It's in a nutshell.
All right, let's talk about the logistics sort of transport in Vietnam. So I'm going to work from like the broader ones down to the smaller ones. So first of all, you got flying around the country. We did 2 or 3 flights. It's quick, it's easy, it's relatively cheap.
Major city to major
city. It saves you a lot of time. Because I'll move on to our number 2 option, overnight trains. They're the other like major option to get around the place.
Overnight bus.
Or the overnight buses. We didn't do an overnight bus, so I can't really comment on them. I've heard they're okay.
Yeah.
So we did the overnight train, and still takes a long time to get around. Like something like 20 hours between Ho Chi Minh and Da Nang. We did like a 10-hour one from Hue up to Tamkok because it worked out well for us. They were okay. They're okay. I don't know if I'd pay like double or triple or quadruple the price to do like one of the private cars and things like that.
I don't think so.
Maybe.
Definitely.
Maybe.
If you want the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a different experience again, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we go down to the smaller scale. And so we did private transfers. And so we did like up to 3-4 hours worth of private transfers at a time. They were all really affordable as well. I mean, whole Vietnam is, but they were particularly, we felt, very good value.
Yeah. And you have options of like an Uber, Grab type option, a private car option, or even like local buses and things like that as well. But for us, they all have their purpose.
So we found private transfer, gone through the Travel Vietnam Facebook groups, put everything in there, say where you want to go, when you want to go. Say you want an English driver or something like that, English-speaking driver. And you'll get a few messages with like some prices in it. Just pick the one that looks good to you.
Well, sounds
good. Everyone we used was good quality, good cars, good.
We didn't have an issue with any of them.
No,
it was great.
Everyone was great.
Yeah.
And my driver that was almost falling asleep.
Yeah.
There was one transfer where the driver was like, looked like he was a bit overworked and he was almost falling asleep.
Yeah. Yeah. But we kept you awake. We kept chatting with him.
Yeah. And then you go down, the next level is like Grab. And you can use Grab for long distances if you want to. We did a 1 hour from Da Nang to Hoi An with a Grab. It's just more expensive than organising a private transfer by yourself. So it's about 10 or 20% more expensive to do it through Grab. But Grab's like pretty easy. Like you just put your thing in and you know where you're going to go. Grab's like Uber.
Yeah.
Except in Vietnam, it's everywhere more than Uber is.
For sure. Yeah.
Grabs for food, Grabs for rides, and Grabs for even scooter rides in cities and stuff. You can do a Grab scooter.
Yeah. So you can use them for longer distances, but mostly like the shorter within towns and stuff worked really well.
So we used Grab all day to like cross over through around Ho Chi Minh, go to different areas, Hanoi.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Like if you need to go somewhere, just Grab's easy.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just on the app and you book and you know the price in advance and things like that as well.
It's no negotiating. Yeah, it was like we ran into some taxi drivers in Ho Chi Minh and they tried to get us in a taxi. They were proper taxis. And they're like, we asked how much to get to the place because they were hassling us. And they were like, said something amount, it was 3 times the amount the Grab said. And I just showed him the app with the number on it. And he's like, oh, no, too cheap, can't do it.
Yeah.
And then the Grab rocked up like 20 seconds later and took us there for that price. And you're like, well,
Yeah, exactly. So,
Why would you use a proper taxi? Yeah, well,
yeah. Well, I guess some people do, because otherwise it wouldn't be there. But anyway.
we did hire a scooter in Tamcock. That's the other
Oh, of course.
form of transport. You can't legally drive there,
No.
but no one cares.
In little places like Tamcock and stuff, all the tourists do it. The hotel had them for hire.
Yeah.
It's kind of a done thing there, but there's no way I would
I
hire
only paid
in.
$5 a day for the scooter. It was something crazy
and
cheap.
and it was $1 for the fuel.
Yeah. It was nothing.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't do it in a city.
Yeah, there's no way I would do it. Even no way in Ho Chi Minh, no way in Hanoi. There's absolutely, and even in Da Nang,
No.
I wouldn't do it either. So the tiny small places, you could do it.
Not when Grabs are so cheap to get a car. Like
Yeah.
for Westerners, it's so cheap to just get a Grab car, and they even have Grab scooters. You can jump on the back of a scooter.
If you want the scooter experience.
Lots of locals use that.
Yeah.
And so if you want the scooter through a city experience, definitely
Yeah.
you can do that. And it's like cheaper again. It's like 50 cents to cross the city or something.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And with the Halong Bay cruise that we did, as part of the booking, they did a private transfer picking up from the hotel, taking us to where the cruise departed and dropping us back.
That was much
to the
further
hotel.
than we expected. It was 2 hours each way.
Yeah.
Yeah. The limousine bus was pretty good though. They were alright.
Yeah, it was cool, wasn't it? Yeah. But it was all part of that. We didn't have to organise a separate transfer and things like that. It was all part of the booking in advance.
Cool.
So that's the transport covered. How you can get around. None of them are better than the others. All of them have their purpose and have their place.
Yeah, just use a mix, whatever mix suits you.
Yeah, and for us, we actually have suitcases and backpacks because we travel full time. So if you're on just a 3-week Vietnam kind of backpacking thing and you've only got backpacks, it would be a little bit easier again, not having to worry about luggage in a grab car and things like that as well. That's transport. Okay, let's talk accommodation. We normally would... So when we left to go to travel Vietnam, we used to have our accommodation behind us, towing our caravan. So for us to go and do like a hotel kind of style travel was a really kind of different experience for us. We hadn't experienced it for a long time. But that's what we did. We did hotels. And why?
Well, normally we'd do Airbnbs, but the hotels were so cheap in Vietnam.
They had breakfasts included, most of them as well.
Yeah, and you can't really go and buy ingredients at the supermarket to cook yourself, so you're basically eating out unless you want to go to the markets and stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, eating's out is so cheap that you're basically going and eating out every meal anyway.
Yeah, so we had breakfast included at the hotel, which is always a good way to start the day. You didn't have to figure out where you were going to go or what you were going to eat.
Yeah.
And so that helped. And then lunch and dinner was out, snacks and things. So we didn't really need the facilities of a kitchen or anything like that in an Airbnb. We did actually book one Airbnb to have a home style,
more of a
homestay type experience.
And it was in the right location.
And it was great. And it would have been fabulous. However, it was 53 degrees and the aircon, the power kept going out.
And the aircon failed. And we were in the top room with the heat rising. Anyway.
Yeah. I'll link that video here.
It's a bit of a nightmare.
So
they were nice enough about it.
And it wasn't their fault and all of that, and we totally understand it's not their fault. But that was the one Airbnb we booked with a homestyle stay to have that experience while we were there, and it just didn't work out for us at the time. So we ended up being pretty much all but that was hotels.
Yeah.
So
that was just so cheap. It was...
Yeah. And we usually just book through...
Booking.com or Agoda. I can't remember who we used.
Well, yeah, I can't remember either. I'll put some links in
We
to
got
make
up
life
to
easier.
some sort of VIP reward system thing in one of them.
Yeah.
We just don't use them enough anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Like mainly an Asia thing for us.
Yep. But I'll put links below
Airbnb.
in the description for any of this that will help you.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about accommodation is literally what suits you. Like we booked...
There's so much variety everywhere.
Yeah, and most
prices, budgets, styles.
Yeah, and like most of the things we booked were just hotel rooms with 2 beds, one for Aria, 1 bed for us. Occasionally there was a bed for us in a suite with a lounge, and Aria slept on the lounge. Most of them had pools as well. We just kind of were like, we were more location and style, and as long as everyone had a bed, we were pretty happy with it.
Ho Chi Minh, we used Airbnb. The first stop in Ho Chi Minh was an Airbnb as well.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and it was actually good.
It's an apartment. Yeah,
it was an apartment, that's right.
In
Ho Chi Minh. Yeah. So there you go. So we did have another good experience with Airbnb. I think it came down to location and price, really.
Yeah, of course.
For us. So
there's just so much variety of accommodation in Vietnam. It's all catering to Western tourists as well. So
yeah, you can definitely find something that'll suit.
Yeah. All right, attractions.
Things to do. We only had one attraction / thing to do booked in advance. So we had all of our transport booked, we had all our accommodation booked, but the one attraction was Ha Long Bay that we booked, the cruise in Ha Long Bay that we booked in advance, because that was part of accommodation as well. Obviously being an overnight one, we did 2 nights. So it came in as part of that. But that was the only one that we booked in advance, and we didn't even really need to do that either.
No, I think we probably could have got a much better price if we waited and booked it while we were
there, yeah.
But it was good, like, knowing that it was sort of already done.
Yeah, it was all kind of just done in advance, which was good. But we did actually, I do think. We also actually booked for a couple of nights, and then the weather wasn't going to be that great. So we contacted them. We were like, what's the chance we could change dates? And they were like, yep, sure. And so we could do that. And the hotel that we had booked, we could flip them around, basically, so to suit the weather, which was fantastic. Yeah. So even though it was booked in advance, we still had that flexibility, which was a bonus. Everything else in terms of attractions that we did, for example, Barnard Hills or Coconut Forest, we just booked the day before.
It was mostly just off recommendations as well.
Yeah. But we only booked them the day before with either through the hotel, we're like, hey, can you organise us a transfer or a car or whatever to Coconut Forest, and they have a driver that does, those sorts of things. Or on the Travel Vietnam Facebook group page thing, we said, hey, we want to go to Barnard Hills for the day, either tomorrow or the next day. Send us your prices. And we got a bunch of messages, and we just negotiated start time, finish time, and the prices, and then pick up location, and it was all organised.
Yeah, then came there, met us, WhatsApp. Everyone uses WhatsApp there.
Yeah.
The entire tourism industry will use WhatsApp, so you don't need a phone SIM.
Yes, exactly.
With a phone number or anything.
With a phone number or anything like that. So it's really, really good that they all adapt for the easiest way of communicating with everyone. He also could get us tickets. He could go to the counter, get the tickets for us, and also get like the buffet tickets and like for the eateries and things, but we just bought our own. He just kind of was the person to get us there and get us back. And he waited all day in the car park for us to do our thing. He chilled out, had a sleep, and then we went down and met him at the end of the day when we were done. So it was really easy. And again, we didn't need to book in advance for even something as popular as Barnard Hills. So don't feel like you need to have every attraction locked in for your dates and times and things like that. You can go with the flow.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And see how you feel each day, or what you feel like, or what the weather's doing, and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
Anything else about attractions? Okay. Okay, so connectivity. Jinx.
Internet, basically.
Exactly.
And phone. Having internet's vital nowadays. You can choose to do it without if you want, but I think it's pretty vital.
It makes life easier.
Makes life way easier. And so it gives you a level of comfort as well. So me having a SIM in my phone and Amanda having a SIM in her phone means that we could contact each other, and we were more comfortable for her to go out without me or me to go out without her.
Yeah. We could contact the drivers as well, if we were up Barnard Hills and we were saying we're coming back down now. We could do that because we had the data SIM on our phone.
And so I think they were really cheap, like less than $10 for 15 days or 20 days or something like that, through Maybe Matter. They've got a affiliate link thing.
I'll put it in below. But they're an eSIM as well, so you don't have to stress about getting to the airport and finding a SIM booth place and losing your Australian SIM or wherever you're from SIM out of your phone, swapping them in and out. It's an eSIM. It's all electronic.
As long as your phone can take an eSIM, which most of them can now.
Most of the new phones can, yeah. So you don't have that kind of swapping stress either. So
we've in our phones, we keep our original Australian SIM card in there, And then we have an eSIM that we use for traveling, and so we just change the eSIM every time we move countries or move areas or whatever.
Yeah.
And so with the Australian SIM still being in the phone means that we can receive SMSs for banking and stuff like that.
Yes, which is important.
Third-party authorizations, two-factor authentication. It's pretty important to have that kept. So we always have that in our phone now. We always have an Australian SIM for all that stuff, a physical SIM in there, and we always have a travelling eSIM.
Correct.
In each of our phones.
And the eSIM is data only because you don't need a phone number. Everything is done through like data, WhatsApp, things like that.
If you
Facebook Messenger.
We very occasionally do need an actual phone call to make an actual phone call, and we have a Skype account, and we do it through Skype.
Yeah. The other thing with having the data SIM always available to you is Google Translate.
Oh, yeah.
You can use that at any point in time on your phone, as well as maps and like researching booking a grab or researching, where to go next or whatever.
Just highly recommend each adult having their own phone, their own eSIM in there for the price. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's like $1 a day. it's so worth it.
Yeah.
And for the bigger things, like we always make sure the accommodation that we stayed at had Wi-Fi included.
We take all day.
Which is pretty much a general standard thing now anyway.
Internet there is way better than Australia's internet.
Yes. Yeah. So we didn't have any issues with connecting our laptops and doing work and stuff from the hotel room either.
Yeah.
So we had both of those options. So you don't need a massive data plan on your phone, eSIM.
I think we made like 5 gigs or something, and that was plenty.
Yeah, because like the Wi-Fi at the accommodation does the rest of it for you. It's only when you're out and about that you need that access. So if you have any questions about that, let us know in the comments.
Yep.
All right. Top 5 attractions. Okay.
In no particular order.
No. Trang An, UNESCO Heritage Site in Tamcock. That was just absolutely mind-blowing and just so peaceful. I loved it.
It was intense. It was very intense in terms of like you're on a little rowboat.
The scale.
You're going through these massive things like tunnels under these mountains and caves, and then these huge mountains around you.
Yeah.
And then islands with carvings and culture and history. Pagodas. Yeah, it was just
amazing. Yeah.
Awesome.
And it was clean and like proud. They were proud of that area as well.
Yeah,
which
it was all like a well-operated tourist machine, but legitimate. Like not overly done. Like, you're not getting scammed. You don't have to deal with. There was no like dealing with 5 random people to try and get a boat, organize a boat to go around and do it. It was all like one operation. You go there to the desk, you buy a ticket, you go there. The next boat person that's available takes you around. You can tip them or not tip them. We tipped them.
Yeah. It was great.
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 2 would be
Train Street in Hanoi.
That was
not the train street. We went to our dodgy
version
other non-touristy train street.
Yeah.
Less touristy train street.
It was such a thrilling experience that
it was intense.
We were just like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening and this is real and this is allowed. It's
one of those memories that you probably have forever.
Yeah. And you can still feel the train. Like I can still feel the train.
And that was a great coconut iced coffee too.
Yeah.
They're really good, by the way. That's a hot tip. Coconut iced coffees.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3, the Lantern Festival in Hoi An. Again, another organised, legitimate tourist attraction that was just one of those moments where you just immerse yourself into the culture and into the moment. It is very, very touristy. It's very done for the tourists. It used to be just on the full moon. And they have every month that on the full moon or whatever, they'd have the festival, but now it's every night in peak tourist time and even shoulder tourist time.
Yeah, we were in shoulder and it was very busy.
Yeah, but again, no matter which booth you go to for your ticket, they're all the same price. They all have their boats in a certain, like the next person rocks up, you get in line next to go.
Which is a big thing for me because I hate being ripped off.
And sometimes you just don't know if you're being ripped off. Whereas in this particular situation, again, you knew you weren't getting ripped off and you weren't getting scammed.
If everyone's getting the same semi-rip off, I'm okay with that. As long as I'm not getting particularly ripped off.
Not getting targeted ripped off. I mean, saying that, there was the Dragon Mountain and Muir Caves one that was a great experience as well. That we did get scammed in, and I'll link that up here. We talk about what happened there.
It's like parking.
With the parking, so it wasn't too bad, but there is that feeling that we got ripped off.
Yeah.
So number 4 is Barnard Hills. Not in any particular order.
It's just epic. It's the longest cable car in the world. It is the most fantastical, structurally built thing I've ever seen in my life.
And it's just something so unique.
It's just the perch on the top of this mountain, and they've just built these massive castles. Like, they're better than any castles in Europe even. Like, more castle-y than the proper castles. It's like a big fantasy thing, which is fine. And, like, they've just done it so well with such level of detail.
And it's
on such scale, like the Roman palazzo, like things, marble everywhere. It's just intense.
And it's always, they're constantly building more and adding to it and improving it and upgrading it, and in terms of things to do and see and stuff like that. And the highlight for me was the Golden Bridge.
We were sort of tossing up doing it or not doing it. And then, because we're going to Europe afterwards, we don't really want to see like a European town in the mountain.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad we did, because it was probably that number one thing.
It was
almost.
awesome. Yeah. The other part to it was that people compare it to Disneyland, and I don't think you can, because it doesn't have that.
It's way better than Disneyland in terms of
creativity of
just places. You're not there to do rides in particular, though they are there. You're not there to like eat in particular, though there is food. You're there to see, like, experience these insane castles that they've built in the sky, and
the whole
just
whole wander
over
around
the top.
it. It's something that's so different to where you are. So,
and I don't think they could do it anywhere else. Like, I feel like it just costs too much to do it anywhere else in the world. You know?
Yeah, for sure. So, don't go there expecting Disneyland or Universal Studios or Movie World or any of those things. It's not like that. It has stuff similar, but a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Plan a whole day there as well.
Yeah, we did 8:30 till 3:30.
That was
and
not enough.
Still
we had to
enough
cut
time.
it short because our driver was getting a bit messaging us. Hey, when are you guys coming?
Yeah, because we originally thought it was going to be enough time.
Yeah.
And then we're like, actually, but yeah, and we felt bad. Anyway, number 5. Halong Bay Cruise.
Yeah, pretty spectacular.
It's one of those places that I've never seen so far in my life, anything like it, and it's really beautiful. It does have some negatives to it, and
it's got very unique geography.
Yeah, I'll link the individual video about that as well, but it's a unique place. It's really unique, so it definitely was a highlight of our time there.
I'd go. Yeah, it's definitely a must-do.
Yeah, for sure. And we
unless you're not going to the northern half of Vietnam, in which case just stick to the southern half and
and like go with your eyes open and just kind of take the whole scene in. I think is one of those things. Realize how small you are in the world.
Yeah.
But that's our top 5.
Yeah. Food and drink.
Yeah.
So we ate out almost every meal for the 3 weeks.
Yes.
Got to be a little bit of a chore at the end, like finding places to eat.
And then finding what to eat at those places.
Finding what to eat at those places. You got to make every place you go to, you've got to evaluate, like, is it clean? Is it going to be sanitary? Is it not?
Yeah.
There's a few places we avoided. We were looking at it. We were thinking about going to a place, and then you look at it and you're like, the floor's not like dirty.
Yeah. We did not want to get sick and ruin the rest of the holiday.
But we weren't super cautious. We weren't like eating in the hotel every day and eating chain food.
No. We definitely ate at some of the hole-in-the-wall places and the street food things.
Just got to make a call every time.
Yeah.
We found Google reviews was the best rather than TripAdvisor or something else.
Yes, but you still had to look at those reviews as to when they were posted, because some places had 20 reviews posted all at the exact same time yesterday.
All 5 stars.
That were all 5 stars with...
Yeah.
So some of them were not really...
Accurate.
We thought possibly bots or whatever could have
been involved. We did get a bum steer once or twice, but generally it was good. Hotel recommendations were good. Other traveller recommendations were really good.
Yeah.
We did develop a price index because it's really hard to know whether you're getting ripped off at a restaurant there or not. because sometimes like they can have bigger dishes with much more meat in them, and you're sort of getting value for money even if a dish is more expensive. And sometimes they can charge you a higher price and you're just not getting anything extra for that higher price, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we developed the Coke Index because Coke is ubiquitous over there. You can also do this with beer if you drink beer, like the Chang Index or whatever the beer is.
Yeah.
But we found that, I'll just run the numbers, just give me a sec. So, cool. So a small bottle of Coke costs 12,000 Vietnamese dong at a supermarket. It costs 18,000 dong at a convenience store, like a 7-Eleven type thing. So you're paying a bit extra for the small location. And restaurants we found charged anywhere from the 18,000 that you would buy it at a 7-Eleven right up to 60,000 for the same bottle of Coke. Now, we don't have a problem with whatever they want to charge.
But it gave us an idea.
It just gave us an idea. And if someone's charging like 18 to 30,000 for the bottle of Coke, you know that they're not like just badly ripping you off.
Yeah, they're not just tourist pricing things type of thing.
Whereas if you see a bottle of Coke for 60,000, you're like, whoa, these guys are just gouging.
And then if we stood there and we looked at some of the meals on the tables of people eating there, we would then use that as like, yes, 60,000 isn't because they're trying to make a little extra on the Coke to go with the meal. Like that's a good value at the meal, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. So we sort of went, this is on the edge.
It was pretty accurate. We ended up finding like restaurant that charged 60,000 was a rip-off. Like we ate there and we didn't realise that Coke was going to be 60,000 before we sat down, but then we did sat down and didn't buy the Coke.
But then when we looked at the price, we were like, okay, this might be a rip-off, and then it generally was.
Even the food was.
Yeah.
A rip-off. So generally, that's a pretty cool index you can use. You can take my idea and run with it if you'd like.
Yeah. Or create your own.
Yeah.
But in generally as well, food...
wasn't as tasty as we expected.
You had to really try to find some of the gems. It wasn't. We thought everyone was going to be super awesome.
Considering Vietnamese food, like it's delicious, it's exported, like banh mi, pho.
Even like the rice paper rolls,
all that sort of stuff. They're all exported, and it's particularly in Australia, you get a lot of nice Vietnamese food. We found generally it was a bit hit and miss. It was a bit harder to find.
Yeah. We did in all of our episodes that we've done of our time, we did try and include some of the highlights of our meals that we did eat, where we went and stuff like that as well. So there was a lot that we didn't record as well, but it was still good.
Yeah, we definitely ate, and it was all affordable. So relatively, there were one or two restaurants that are like, wow, that's almost Australian prices.
Yeah, for sure.
But one of them was really good, and one of them was not so good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but yeah,
that's food. Tips, general hints and tips.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'm just going to go through. I'm just going to refer to my phone a little bit for this. So
the first one I'll say is we went in April, May, and the temperature was hot and humid,
very hot,
and muggy, and like
feels like 55 degrees.
And so, if you're someone that can't handle heat, I really suggest you make sure you look at the weather before you plan your trip.
The general weather.
Of the seasons. We were doing it as a hop over to Europe at the right time of year for us, and we can handle like some heat and stuff.
We generally consider all the Southeast Asia weather to be fine for us. We're used to some humidity and heat and stuff like that, but it was over the top.
It was hot.
I would not choose to go back in that month.
In that time, yeah. So definitely consider your weather timing. If you are just going on a holiday, and you can choose when, consider that for sure.
One negative to Vietnam is pollution. Definitely, it's everywhere, both in litter and rubbish and smog.
Yeah, we tried so hard to avoid it.
Sometimes it felt like you couldn't get a good breath of air.
Yeah, we tried to go to places with nature and stuff like that to try and get a bit of that break, but even then...
So even after like 4 days in Ho Chi Minh or in Hanoi, you're like, I want to go somewhere and get a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. And it was hard to find that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It is part of it.
Was sort of the...
Yeah, and I don't know if it was the time of year with humidity and things like that, whether it made it worse or not, but I think it may play a small part of the role. I don't think it's going to just magically...
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you have to be aware of. Think about it, like, just expect it and roll with it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't let it ruin it. because
it's still go for sure.
You can't let it ruin it, but it's just one of those things to be prepared about.
Let's talk money. We're not going to talk numbers, just getting money and how you use it first.
We did need cash as well.
Cash everywhere.
Yeah.
Card a lot of the time usable, but always have cash.
And for like even private transfers, we paid by cash at the end of the day and things like that. So
we did pay over a fair bit of restaurant food.
Yeah.
But
and attractions and stuff like that.
And Grab was all automatically off the card.
Yeah.
But you could choose to pay in cash as well. But we just chose to do it all automatically.
Yeah. So yes, you definitely need a bit of both. So you need to be able to have a way of getting cash out at an ATM.
Yeah. And so just be aware of that. Look at the different ATMs have different withdrawal limits. So
and fees.
There were particular, like the Western banks had higher withdrawal limits for the same fee, if that makes sense. So like for a $3 fee, you can either withdraw $100 at a Vietnamese ATM, or you could have withdrawn $500 at like an HSBC or Citibank or whatever. So try that out, have a look at it. Sometimes I found the fees were a bit excessive with withdrawals at ATMs.
Yeah, there was a couple of times where we went to a couple of ATMs at the start and we're like, nope, that's not a good value for money for the withdrawal fee.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be like $3 or $4 withdrawal fee and this is not on our bank side. This is on the Vietnamese ATM side.
Yeah. So just look into it or do a couple of tests without actually going through with it with the different ATMs for the bank for the card that you've got.
Sometimes I was just like, I just have to pay the $4 to get the cash out because I just need the cash for the next day or whatever. But if you can, there was definitely in Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi, there were some Western ATMs that, like HSBC, I think in particular, and Citibank had really quite high withdrawal limits. So you can just get enough for like the whole stay in one chunk if you wanted.
Or even some, We did try and Google where the next ATM was as well to try and plan out how much cash to get out. So we didn't get stuck without any cash as well. So maybe look at that for your particular card that you use. We've talked about eSIMs already.
Grab up. Definitely grab up, 100%.
Download the app, make it easy for yourself.
Don't drink the water. And that's locals do not drinking the water. It's not like a Western thing.
No, it's even locals don't do it.
Don't do it. Just buy bottles of water. It's cheap. It's everywhere.
And it's unfortunate that you do have to do it with the pollution and rubbish and things like that. However, we bought like the 5 or 10 litre big ones and then poured them into like our water bottles to take out for the day.
Even cardboard box ones we had a couple of times.
Yeah. So there are the bigger bulker ones that you can do if you are. We would get it the day we arrived in say Ho Chi Minh. We were staying there for 4 nights. We'd buy a big one and make it last. So we weren't doing the small 600ml bottles constantly. And tossing them out. So it is unfortunate that you have to do it. We even cleaning your teeth. We had a bottle at the sink to clean our teeth on the brush to rinse with and stuff like that because it's the time you can get so sick from the tiniest bit of that.
You're
water.
not even meant to get any in your mouth while you're showering. Or
exactly. We didn't wash our faces in the shower. We used baby wipes to wash our faces.
Yeah. Join the Vietnam Travellers Facebook group. I've mentioned it before for the private transfers. There's a lot of good info on there. You can ask any questions. There's enough people on there to
help you out.
Help you out. It's a good resource.
Yeah.
Maybe search for an answer first on the group before asking simple questions because people get a bit sick of like replying to the same question over and over and over and over and over.
Yes.
But anyway.
Take your own sunscreen as well.
It's hot, it's sunny.
Yeah, we took a little bit. We didn't take anywhere near enough. The sun is strong. We got sunburnt even on the cloudy days. We got sunburnt on the non-sunny days. When we're walking through the streets, which don't feel like you have any sun because there's so many tall buildings.
And something we didn't consider that much before we left Australia.
Yeah, like we took a bit, but nowhere near enough. We had to buy it, and it was really hard to buy it. They only have small tubes of it that were super expensive.
It was like $30 Australian
for like a small tube. So then we're trying to like spread it out and so
it's
just
not
take
very
it.
common to buy a sunscreen though. They do not use it.
No, they literally wear head to toe in clothes, whereas we don't. So they don't really need to buy it themselves. So take it with you. Take it with you.
If you want to see large amounts of the country, be prepared to fly. Because there's a long time between places.
Yeah.
It's long and skinny.
Yeah.
Pickpockets are around.
Definitely.
I almost got done once.
Lucky I was walking behind and busted get the elbow in there. Wasn't an enjoyable experience at all. Didn't like doing it, but
I used a money belt and just kept everything in the money belt.
And we didn't take that much with us either, like in terms of we took our phones, our card, some cash.
And so I would usually just have my hand in my pocket with my phone all the time.
Yeah. Mine was on a strap around my neck.
Well, you got the strap.
I got the strap there.
Yeah.
And so then it went around my neck, but other than that, it was being carried, held onto. So money belt or whatever, even backpacks on your back, they can be pretty like sly about unzipping things and stuff like that. We didn't have that experience, but there are those incidences. So just it happens and it's there. So be smart.
Be smart. Yep.
Yeah.
Make sure you go to the correct government visa website.
Yes, you do need a visa. It is only 28 days.
They've just changed it.
Oh, have they?
We won't pretend to be fully up to date on it all, but
okay. Well,
the government website for visas looks dodgy. Looks like something from the 1990s.
But it's the legit one.
It's the legit one. All of the fancy, good-looking websites are either scams or add-on service charge ones that just make the process look prettier and charge you an extra $5 for it. So find the proper one, go to the proper one, get charged the minimum amount.
And make sure it's legit.
Make
sure your visa name is exact spelling, details, middle names, whatever, as your passport. Because we did get held up in the airport because of a slight error.
All right. All right, let's move into our biggest mistakes that we made traveling Vietnam.
Yeah, use this moment to learn from us.
Learning moments.
So probably the biggest mistake was that made me feel most vulnerable and uncomfortable was having my suitcase opened once it was checked into a flight. They had pried open the lock. So I think our biggest mistake was not having a cover over it or getting it wrapped in plastic or having an extra layer to make it that little bit more time consuming and difficult for staff to
Bamboo Airlines
to get into it. It's not a cheap suitcase either. It's a Samsonite kind of, and it was new at the time as well.
It's a foreigner's suitcase.
It's very feminine looking as well.
Suitcase, yeah.
So I think they were just in there looking for jewelry or something. So just having that extra layer.
We didn't get anything taken.
No, nothing was taken. But just I felt compromised.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually had credit cards and $500 cash in my suitcase at the time, and they didn't go through mine.
Because his is a manly looking kind of...
I just made a mistake and we forgot that we had a separate spare wallet that was in my suitcase.
Yes, because when we travelled, we didn't like to take all of our cash with us day to day. We'd keep some in the hotel room hidden, and we just totally slipped on that being in there when we checked our bags in.
Good thing they went through Amanda's, not mine.
Yeah, because I had nothing in mine. So yeah, that's probably number one. And number two together was not having that extra layer of kind of to deter them and to accidentally leaving valuables in our suitcase in checked luggage.
Mistakes 1 and 2.
Mistake number 3 would be probably not trusting our gut when we went to a tourist attraction and kind of getting that little bit scammed by someone pretending to be security. In our gut, we knew that we'd done the research, but at the time we were...
Well, it was very official looking.
It was.
Like, it was in a full, it looked like a police outfit.
Yeah.
But it was just like a parking security guard.
Yeah. So, but we should have just trusted our gut and just went, no. And
it was a $2 mistake though.
Yeah, it was nothing. It was nothing, but it kind of just made you
parking our scooter cost us $2 instead of nothing.
Yeah, that's okay. Oh, it was just one of those moments. Yeah. Mistake
number 4, Harlon Bay.
The cruise.
We booked an overly expensive one that we didn't need to actually be that expensive.
And it was a great cruise. It was really nice. The boat was nice. The rooms were nice. The food was nice. The staff was great.
We think we could have got a very similar experience for about half the price.
Yeah, for sure. It was.
We paid about 1,600 Australian, and we probably could have got away with 800 Australian or less.
Yeah. We did have the luxury limousine transfer included, but
because it was such an expensive cruise, there was only 4 couples on the whole boat,
and they were just and they were doting over you and all of that kind of stuff because it wasn't a full boat.
which made it feel luxurious. But I feel like a lot of others would.
But even like the bar prices were in like proper expensive like Western prices at the bar on the boat and stuff.
We were on
because
an
it was an expensive cruise.
Yeah, so we could have gone to a cheaper cruise that had cheaper drinks while we're on there as well.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So we went with AUCO. Again, it was a good. We enjoyed it, but
if you've got the money and you want to splurge and have that, the thing, go for it. But if you don't, if you want to save on,
if you want value for money, I'd recommend a cheaper cruise.
Or if you're on a stricter budget and you still want to do Harlem Bay, you don't have to do the expensive one we did.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this was an interesting one.
Mistake number 5.
In Hoi An,
we got caught up in the moment getting clothes made. Hoi An is known for tailor-made clothing, cheap prices, clothes, and more clothes, scarves, suits, like everything, shoes. But we got caught up in the moment. I wanted to experience
We found a good tailor. We got recommended off Google reviews, which were legit Google reviews, like proper ones.
Yeah. And she was great.
But
we ended up, I was like, let's just go and get a shirt or a dress each made, one each. Let's, just to experience it. We're here, this is what it's known for, let's go and do it. And then when we got there, it ended up being like, Dan gets...
She was a very good salesperson.
Yes. And, Dan ended up with 2 shirts and a pair of shorts, and that was him scaling back. I ended up with a jumpsuit, a pair of pants, a dress, and a shirt and a top and skirt as well. And that was me scaling back after, and then Aria got a dress as well thrown in as part of the sales pitch. But at the time, we're like, oh, that would be really nice. This one would be really nice. And then you just kind of get it caught up, and then you spend all this time there, and you kind of like...
And then she starts talking price at the end. After you've made all these decisions for hours and hours.
And after you've kind of designed everything to suit you and taken measurements and everything. And the clothing is decent enough and it's not bad.
Good quality. It was done in 2 nights.
Yeah, the turnaround was quick. We kept going back and forth to get the measurements, make sure it was perfect. Definitely. But in terms of how much it cost us, it was definitely more than what we thought. And if I was to do it again, I wouldn't do it again.
We wouldn't do it again. No, we're not tailor-made kind of people. We've discovered.
Yeah, and just for our lifestyle, we don't really need.
We don't like clothes shopping, but even worse than clothes shopping is tailor getting clothes made by a tailor. Clothes shopping's bad, but at least you can go around, browse, find something that you think's going to look good, go and try it on, see it before you buy it.
Yes.
These are all things that you cannot do with a tailor.
Yeah. You have to go, I really like that, I really like this, I like the idea of this.
You look through some magazines or something, you see something nice, you like that, I guess.
And you pick out the material off just a spool of material, and you have no idea how that'll actually wear when you're wearing it. Another thing we did say was we travel out full time out of our suitcases, so everything needs to be not required to be ironed, and everything we've got requires an iron, so we wear it creased. So we look terrible because even though we were very clear, no iron material, we ended up with material that need ironing. So it was a little disappointing. So if you want to do this experience, do it, but go in with your eyes open. They're very good at sales pitching.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the prices, so you can find prices online first, like what they're going to charge you. Ours ended up being 40 Australian dollars per item it averaged out to be.
Yeah.
Which is
a lot for Vietnam, but I know it's not a lot for a lot of other clothing things, but it's a lot for Vietnam, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
But the market clothes just looked so shitty.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's no store that you're like, I want to walk into and I want to try these on. They're all just full of racks of stuff, and there's nowhere to try it on or anything. It's just...
And you feel like once you're in there, you kind of get trapped in there a little.
Yeah, so we try not to enter little shops and stores.
Yeah. But it's not these are not negative things about it. It's just make sure you're aware of it and be prepared for that, because we were not prepared for that emotional feeling of when you walked in, being locked in kind of thing. It was really hard to walk away. But yeah.
We just spent money.
So again, learn from us. If you don't have the money to spend, or you don't want to spend money, don't walk in, because you do get that feeling, unless you're really a really brutal person. Yeah. We're just not like that. So, but yeah, that's our top mistakes that we made.
Fire off some facts and figures.
All right, the bit everyone wants to know is how much did it cost?
Yep.
So
We'll just do it quickly, all right? So number of nights.
21 nights total.
Cost of flights.
$250 per person.
And that was
Internal.
two internal flights, that was each.
Yeah.
So it's $125 each for our internal flights with luggage, which is all right.
Yeah.
Cost of accommodation, not including our Halong Bay cruise.
It's $2,162. So that was for everything except...
Averaged $100 a night for the three of us.
Yeah. $100 a night average.
Australian, sorry. We're talking
Australian dollars, yes. Yeah, not including the Halong Bay 2-night cruise.
How much was that
Or
Halong Bay
the
2-night
hang
cruise?
on, or the overnight train night of accommodation doesn't get included there
Okay.
either. So the Halong Bay cruise
We
was
splurged on this. We did not need to spend this much.
no $1,988
It was a bit of luxury.
for 2 nights, 3 days on a cruise. So I'm going to just repeat that really quick. 2,162 for
21
for
nights.
like 21 no for like 18 nights of accommodation, and then $1,988 for 2 nights of accommodation and 3 days on a cruise.
The overnight train, how much was that?
The overnight train was $74 for that.
2 adult tickets.
2 adult tickets.
And Aria was free.
Yeah, we didn't pay for Aria.
So we didn't. You can understand not wanting to spend double that to have a carriage to yourself, like a room to yourself.
Yeah,
Like that's a lot of extra cash.
it's a night in a hotel, and
Yeah. Spending money. How much do we spend on food, attractions, transfers, all that sort of stuff?
Uber, etc. $1,800 over the 21 days.
And how much do we spend on taxis and grabs?
$114 Australian.
That was a lot of rides.
It was, considering they were like $4 here and $3 there, and like we were always in a grab.
And what was our total cost for 3 weeks in Vietnam?
$7,000 for Australian for 3 weeks.
And it could have been 5,000 without the Halong Bay cruise. So
For sure. Yeah, so 5,000 for 3 weeks if you don't do Halong Bay, or expensive Halong
pretty
Bay.
reasonable prices.
But 7,000 for total. Considering you have to think about eating out.
Eating out every lunch, every dinner.
Every meal you're eating out pretty much. Snacks and stuff as well.
Shout out to the
way.
bakeries. The bakeries there are great, by the way.
And like we were always buying like a juice here or a
Because
bakery
it was so
treat
cheap, we
there.
were just like, just whatever, just get it.
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
We
So-
did rooftop bar,
cocktails and so it includes all that. So $7,000 for 3 weeks. For
very
3 of us.
luxurious living.
Yeah.
Most of it.
We could have definitely done it cheaper if we really wanted to, but we were on a holiday.
So what did we think of Vietnam overall?
It was a really nice place to go. The people were super friendly. There is quite a variety of culture and nature and like mountains and beach and like cities and small villages.
First world and third world as well, combo. Like it's Southeast Asia. It is what it is.
But Ho Chi Minh has like massive apartment buildings and big bridges and stuff like that. But there are some of the negatives to it, like with the pollution and the smog and the rubbish and stuff as well.
Scooters
So
everywhere.
and the scooters and
Traffic,
the noise.
crossing the road.
Yeah, and the traffic noise.
Crossing the road was an experience in Ho Chi Minh. You just have to like go.
Yeah.
And the scooters like go around you. It's crazy.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah,
I personally, if I had to choose between Thailand and Vietnam, I would probably be choosing Thailand, mostly for the food quality.
But we haven't been there for 10 years, so like things may have changed in Thailand as well.
I'd definitely be happy to go back to Vietnam as well. It was really cool.
Yeah, like if we didn't go to there's quite a few places we didn't get to go to as well due to our time limit. That we've heard are amazing as well. So there's definitely more to see and more to do. And if the opportunity arise for us to go back, we wouldn't say no. So
definitely.
Like if you've wondered whether Vietnam's a place to go, do it for sure. Go enjoy it and just live Southeast Asia for a bit. Traveling with kids as well. Like accommodation was easy with Aria, transport was easy with Aria, attractions were really easy with Aria. They absolutely adore little like white girls. They like dote over her. So we never felt unsafe with Aria. Like at the start in a new city, we'd make sure she walked right next to us and things like that until we got to know, how the place worked. But there was never a place that we were like, this is not a safe place for children at all. Playgrounds were dotted around as well. The little Vietnamese children that she met along the way here and there were gorgeous and wanted to play with her as well. So, for kids, it's a great place as well for exposure and to eat out cheap and stuff as well. A cheap holiday with kids. So,
just got her a bowl of rice for like $1,000 or something.
Yeah, sometimes she just had a bowl of rice and some morning glory, some greens and rice.
Yeah.
Because that's all she wanted at the time, and you know what? It's fine. Every so often that's fine too. So definitely, if you got the opportunity and wondered about Vietnam, for sure, I would recommend you to go.
Yeah. Hopefully our video series has helped you guys travel planning yourself.
Yeah.
Between our info video here and our vlogs from as we travelled around Vietnam. The episodes, Amanda's done an awesome job putting them all together. So
thanks.
Check them out.
If you have any other questions, pop them in the comments, and I'll do the typical like, subscribe, that kind of thing. It really helps our channel grow, especially as we venture further through the world, heading to Europe next. And come along for the ride, come along for the journey, share the video, and we'd love to see you in the next episode.
Yep.
Catch
Peace.
ya.